Okay, we are going to talk about substitution method, which if you are in first, fifth, or sixth hour, this is packet number 2, page 9. If you are in second or third hour, this is packet 2-3, page 13. If you need to hear that again, rewind it and listen carefully. Substitution method is one of 3 ways to solve a system of equations. So today's learning target is that you can solve a system of linear equations in 2 variables by substitution. In level 1, we did this all by graphing. If I had a coordinate plane and I graphed one line, then I graphed another line, the point where the 2 lines cross is their solution. So in this case, that point would be the solution, and I would name it as a point x comma y. But now we're going to be able to figure out what the x and the y is by solving it algebraically rather than by graphing. So we have some steps we can follow to do this. Step 1, make sure at least one equation has a variable isolated all by itself. We already have that true down here. This y is all by itself on the left-hand side of the equation. And so we're going to get to skip step 1 for everything on this page. Step 2 is we're going to substitute or plug in that equation to the other equation and solve. So I'm going to show you what that's going to look like. So this says y is equal to x minus 4. That means y is the same thing as x minus 4. That means that x minus 4 could take the place of y in the other equation because they're the same thing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to rewrite this equation exactly as I see it. 2x plus y, but instead of y, I'm going to put empty parentheses, equals 5. So it's exactly like this top equation, 2x plus y equals 5. This is a video. If at any time I'm going too fast, hit pause, let your brain process what's being said, or rewind it and watch it again. So if y is the same thing as x minus 4, then I'm going to plug that in where the y was supposed to be, because it's the same thing. Now, I only have one variable here, so I can solve for that variable using my Unit 1 skills from September. The parentheses aren't going to do anything, so I can drop them. Then I can combine like terms. 2x plus 1x is 3x. I'm not subtracting them because I'm not moving them to the other side of the equation. They're already here, I'm just combining them together. I'm trying to get x all by itself, so the first thing I'm going to do is get rid of the minus 4, and to do that I'm going to add 4. But if I add 4 to the left, I have to add 4 to the right. And then I'm going to divide both sides by 3 because the opposite of multiply by 3 is divide by 3. If you need to hit pause so you can finish copying, then go ahead and do that. I found one of the variables, but there were 2 variables in this system, so I have to still find y. Remember, when we solve a system, the answer is the point where the 2 lines cross. So I found the x coordinate, now I need to find the y coordinate. So here, this 3, I can plug it back into either one of these equations for x. It doesn't matter which one, I always pick the one that looks easiest. In my opinion, it's a lot easier to plug it in for that bottom equation. So instead of y equals x minus 4, it's y equals 3 minus 4. And that's it. So I'm going to rewrite the point where these 2 lines would cross if we were to have solved it by graphing. Hit pause. Listen to that again if it didn't make sense. Rewind it. I'm going to start B, but again, hit pause. Try to beat me to the first line. This is a video. You're in all of the control. So hit pause as many times as you want. Rewind as many times as you want. what is going to be plugged in? X is equal to this whole thing. That means 2y minus 4 is the same thing as x, which means it can get plugged in and take the place of x in the other equation. So I'm going to rewrite this equation exactly as I see it. But instead of x, I've got the empty parentheses. Again, hit pause. Try to finish this entire problem without me, and then hit play and see if you did it right. 2y minus 4 is x. That's what that line says. These parentheses, there's nothing in front, so I can just drop them and ignore them. I'm going to combine my like terms. These are on the same side of the equation, so I can combine them. 2y plus 8y is 10y. Add 4 to both sides. 10y is equal to 20. Divide both sides by 10. Y is equal to 2. But if I'm following my steps, it says take your answer from the previous step and substitute it back into either equation to find the other variable. So I'm going to plug this guy back into the top because in my opinion that's the easier one, but you can plug it into the bottom and we should get the same exact answer. Instead of x equals 2y minus 4, I have x equals 2 empty parentheses minus 4. And I'm going to plug in the 2 where the y is supposed to be. I'm using order of operations to simplify the right side. 2 times 2 is 4. 4 minus 4 is 0. Hit pause, copy that down, and then try to beat me to the next problem. Y is the same thing as negative 1/2 x. That means negative 1/2 x can take the place of y in the other equation. So I'm going to rewrite this equation exactly as I see it, but instead of the y, I'm going to put an empty parenthesis. Hit pause to catch up. Y is the same thing as negative 1/2 x. And now I can solve for x. 2 times negative 1/2 is negative 1. This becomes 2x, negative 1, or minus 1x equals 5. These are on the same side of the equation. Combine them to make 1x equals 5. Plug this back into either one of these equations. Hit pause and do that. I'm going to plug it into the top. Y equals negative 1/2 x, but instead of x, I've got 5. So y is either equal to negative 5/2 or negative 2.5. I don't care what one you use. Oops, let's rewrite that. 5 comma negative 2.5. Hit pause, catch up, beat me to the next one. D. Y is equal to x plus 3. Y is equal to 2x plus 5. Both of these are isolated. If they're both equal to y, then they're equal to each other. If y is the same thing as this, then it can take the place of the y in the other equation. But you could do that with the other one too. It doesn't matter because this can go here as well. But they end up just being equal to each other because they're both equal to y. So it doesn't matter if you set yours up on the other side or not, with x plus 3 over on the right. It doesn't matter. We get the same answer no matter what. Now I'm going to solve for x, but I have x on both sides of the equation. So I'm going to move my x over to the right-hand side by doing the opposite of adding x. I'm going to subtract x from both sides. And I'm moving it over here because then I know once I do this step, I'm going to end up with a positive 1x. But you could have moved it to the left. It doesn't matter. I'm going to subtract 5 from both sides. X is equal to negative 2. Plug it into either one. It does not matter. I'm going to plug it into the top one because in my opinion, that's the easier math. Y equals negative 2 plus 3. So instead of y equals x plus 3, it's negative 2 plus 3. Okay, move on to the next page and attempt the practice problems for this substitution method.